Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into what might just be the absolute most fascinating example of the industry's biggest 10-year shift. We're talking about the massive move away from giant, highly centralized tech infrastructures toward hyper-efficient, decentralized, self-hosted edge computing. And to really understand it, we're going to hook right into a story about high-stakes infrastructure living in, well, a highly unusual location. Picture this. Just outside Amsterdam, there's a perfectly ordinary Dutch house. You know, a family, a garden, a barn next door. But inside that barn, something crazy is happening. It's not holding tractors or farm equipment, it's quietly controlling the global movement of money.
And when I say global movement, I mean we're talking about 1.1 million users. That is the staggering number of people relying on a financial app hosted right here, transferring value to each other all around the world in literally seconds. And because this app is running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week across every single time zone, there is absolutely no room for a maintenance window. The power simply cannot go off. This infrastructure has to be completely bulletproof, handling huge amounts of data storage and processing without a single hiccup.
It really highlights a massive juxtaposition, right? Normally, you'd expect a critical application like this to live in some sprawling corporate tech campus or maybe a heavily guarded commercial data center, right in the heart of a major city. But its actual home is an old, converted Dutch cow barn. Look, Amsterdam data centers are incredibly busy, cramped spaces. Costs are climbing, and electricity prices, they just keep going up and up. So this harsh environment actually became the perfect catalyst for a completely different approach to enterprise tech.
Section 1. Meet the Tinkerer.
Okay, let's dive into this. Wietse Wind is the founder who looked at traditional infrastructure, completely bypassed it, and decided to just build his own data center right next to his house. But keeping your own enterprise servers online with 0 engineers on site is a serious undertaking. Wietse knew hosting locally would save a ton of money on electricity, but it came with this terrifying responsibility of keeping it online flawlessly. To understand how he pulled this off, you kind of have to look at his background. He's been taking things apart and rebuilding them since he was a kid. At age 10, instead of just playing video games, he was soldering circuits and setting up networks. He actually wired his stairs with infrared gates so his computer screen would automatically shut off when his parents came upstairs. By 14, he literally walked into a local computer shop on his birthday and talked his way into a job. And by 16, he officially registered his own business just so he could start sending out invoices. That lifelong obsession with hardware is the exact foundation needed for the massive project we're looking at today.
Section 2. Designing the ultimate power grid.
So, a colleague who was living off-grid in Australia actually pointed Wietse toward Victron Energy, this really high-quality Dutch manufacturer of inverters. And what started as a simple backup power idea rapidly blew up into something far bigger. Wietse needed a system with so much redundancy that the servers going dark was basically impossible. So he teamed up with an installer named Danny Make, and they spent 4 whole years iteratively building this compound's power supply. Let's break down the sheer scale of what they built, starting with what we'll call the field system. Out in the field, they set up 96 solar panels in a 50-50 east and west split. These feed into 6 MPPT solar charge controllers and 3 10 kVA multi+2 inverters. They actually treat these as 3 different systems, each with its own Servo GX, which is essentially the central communication hub acting as the brain. Their whole job is to provide 3 separate single-phase supplies to the main system. It's a literal masterclass in decentralized redundant engineering.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how this system compounds. Up on the roof of the barn, facing dead south at a 30-degree angle, are another 54 solar panels. These feed 2 more charge controllers and a massive array of 12 10 kVA Quattro 2 inverters. This setup creates a rock-solid 3-phase power supply utilizing 4 inverters per phase. It takes an 80-amp grid supply, which, by the way, has a special anti-islanding kit so municipal workers don't get shocked during a power outage, and combines it with the phases from the field system. Another Servo GX controls the whole shebang, providing the primary power to the data center, the intense cooling systems, the 2 houses on the property, the office, and the electric vehicle chargers.
And to make absolutely sure the power never drops during the night or a cloudy week, there is an astounding 540 kilowatt-hours of lithium battery storage on site. Danny, the installer, actually noted this is the largest storage installation he's ever done. To put that number into perspective, on a typical day, the whole compound burns through around 600 kilowatt-hours. There's a constant baseline of roughly 20 to 25 kilowatts just to keep the data center and the cooling running. That is basically like running 15 high-end hair dryers on full blast 24/7 without a single break. So when you add it all up across the field and the roof, picture exactly 150 solar panels on this property. They're just quietly absorbing the sun, keeping a global financial application pulsing with data, second by second, without strictly relying on the traditional municipal grid. And the result of all those panels and that massive battery bank? 10. According to the installer's calculations, this entire compound, the enterprise servers, the houses, the EV chargers, can run completely off-grid for roughly 10 months out of the year. If the grid fails completely, they just run off solar and stored energy alone. And in a worst-case scenario, there's even a separate UPS giving the servers 25 minutes of standalone power, which buys just enough time to bypass the main system for maintenance. It is the ultimate peace of mind.
Section 3, floods, failures, and fail-safes.
Of course, pioneering this shift in infrastructure isn't all sunshine and smooth sailing. Let's look at the harsh realities, the challenges, and the insane fail-safes you need when you decide to run an enterprise data center from your house. It took 3 major iterations of breaking down and upgrading parts to get to this final state. Because over 1 million users depend on this app, Wietse can't just cross his fingers when a software update rolls out. So he built the basement clone. Down in his house's basement, he has a miniature, fully functional replica of the entire setup. It has 3 inverters and an entire server rack. It's just smaller. Every single firmware update or configuration change gets ruthlessly tested right here on the clone before it ever touches the live production system.
Wietse also realized pretty quickly that standard, out-of-the-box system management just wasn't going to cut it for these kinds of energy demands. But hey, they're a software company, right? So his team actually built their own custom forecasting software. They wrote code that precisely calculates the solar yield, factors in the real-time charge of up to 5 different electric vehicles, monitors the data center load, and even tracks live grid prices to perfectly manage their daily energy usage.
But no amount of custom software can prepare you for the realities of rural plumbing. I absolutely love this quote from Wietse about an early disaster. He says, "Never really disconnected the main pipe, so that flooded the entire floor. One thing we learned is just to move everything up against the wall." Yep, the data center used to just be a barn for cows, and an old forgotten cow water pipe actually broke and flooded the server room floor. It's hilarious, but a very real reminder that DIY decentralized engineering comes with some very unique, very wet, hard lessons. And this brilliantly illustrates how the ingenuity doesn't just stop at keeping the servers dry. Even the intense heat thrown off by the hardware gets captured. Check out this closed-loop system. First, the sun powers the servers. Second, those hardworking servers generate a massive amount of hot air. Third, that hot air actually gets suctioned up and injected into a water cooling circuit. And finally, that heated water goes through a heat exchanger to warm the property's swimming pool. It is a breathtakingly efficient way of recycling waste heat.
Section 4. Energy Independence Achieved.
Wietse fully admits he was basically living the geek dream, turning his property into one giant, hyper-functional playground. But it carries a massive responsibility. He's storing deadly amounts of energy and ensuring everything works perfectly for hundreds of thousands of concurrent users. But the lifestyle payoff? It's incredibly unique. When an emergency happens and a 4 a.m. alarm goes off, instead of rushing to his car and driving all the way into a corporate campus in Amsterdam in the middle of the night, Wietse simply grabs his bathrobe, walks next door into the barn, and fixes whatever global server issue needs fixing. Turns out, energy independence and an app that never sleeps are a very, very good fit.
Which leaves us with this final, striking question to think about. If one man in a converted cow barn can power a global financial app for over 1 million users, completely off the sun and a massive battery bank, what's stopping the rest of the internet from doing exactly the same? As the industry looks at its biggest shift in 10 years, this massive move towards sustainable, decentralized infrastructure, Wietse's barn stands as absolute proof that the future of tech might look a lot less like a corporate campus and a lot more like a very smart home. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.